why Sindh, which is in Pakistan, still matters to India. What is the big claim that our defense minister has made and it has rattled Pakistan?
यह भारत का हिस्सा भले ही न हो, सभ्यतागत रूप से सिंध हमेशा भारत का हिस्सा रहेगा। और जहां तक जमीन की बात है, तो बॉर्डर्स तो बदल सकते हैं, क्या पता कल को सिंध भारत में फिर से वापस आ जाए।
What is the Sindh controversy and what are the consequences to it? When a defense minister says borders can change, the world listens. Sindh, which was the heart of the Indus Valley, once part of British India and now in Pakistan, but it has become the national conversation of India. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh and today we are going to understand the remark that has been said by our defense minister, where he has talked about that Sindh can return to India, the borders can change. What does this mean? What are the narratives around it? What are the implications of it? And what has been the controversy around it, the word Sindh itself? So let us begin with understanding the exact event, that what is the issue. So recently at a Sindhi community event, our defense minister Rajnath Singh went ahead and highlighted the connectivity of community and also the connection that India holds culturally to the Sindh region itself. And this is when he also remarked that Sindh may return to India and borders are not permanent, they also change. Now this whole statement has become the flashpoint where there are a lot of discussions going on, and the core idea, if you understand, of this statement was just to revive the historical as well as civilizational memory that is associated with Sindh, especially with the context of Indian discourse. Now let us try to understand that what is the historical and civilizational memory that we are talking about Sindh. So in that context, let us start with understanding a little more from the history context of this particular region. So if you talk about Sindh region, this is basically in the lower region of Indus River Basin, and this region as of now is present in Pakistan. There are key cities such as Karachi, then we have Hyderabad, which is present in Sindh, which are present in this very region, and this is the region which was the cradle of Indus Valley civilization. Locations such as Mohenjo-daro are found in this very region. Furthermore, when we are talking about Indus Valley civilization, which was known for its architecture, known for the trade, it is also one of the earliest centers of not just urbanization but also maritime trade because of the access they had to Arabian Sea. Now this is the actual cultural connector, because if you go by the name Sindhu, which is usually used for the Indus word, it is the root word which is used for naming of India and also the word given to the religion Hinduism, that is Hindu. So this shows that there is a cultural connectivity, and that cultural connectivity can be traced historically. And I am not talking about times 200 years back, 300 years back, I am talking about times such as back as 2500 BC. Now this is about the ancient period. What about recent present times? In that very context also, Sindh holds a lot of meaning here. So if we talk about the Sindh region, if you see in this particular map, even before partition, before 1936, it was part of Bombay Presidency only. In 1936, it was marked as a separate province here, unless the Bombay Presidency state was up and until here, which included Sindh. But after the independence and pre-partition time, Sindh voted to merge with Pakistan and it joined Pakistan. And that is when we have also seen a lot of cultural trauma, because this region was dominated by Hindus. If we go by the data of back that time, we find more than 23% of this very region were Sindhi Hindus, and almost 10 to 12 lakh Sindhi Hindus had to migrate to India post-partition. So this is where settlement clusters, especially of Sindhis, developed in western as well as central India. And because of all this, as a consequence, There is a sense of lost homeland in Sindh for all these people, for all Indian Sindhis, which raises this consciousness, this connection with this region, and also it brings the idea of cultural continuity, which has been maintained even though this territory is not part of India anymore. So this was to establish the context that what kind of cultural link, what kind of historical link we are talking about and what has been mentioned and in what regard it has been mentioned. Now also to bring more context to this, there has been a time where the word Sindh was asked to be excluded from our national anthem. So when you talk about our national anthem, there is this line where we talk about Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha. So there was a proper petition which asked for the removal of the Sindh word, and in 2005, Supreme Court gave a clear verdict saying that when we talk about Sindh, it is not just about the region. Even though that territory lies in Pakistan, this particular word is much more just than a political identity. Sindh word represents civilization, it represents culture and the river, and India still has association with that. So the national anthem should not be taken as a political map, rather it is more of a symbolic geography conversation. We have had no as such government view on this, no change was proposed, no change was brought in, and original wording has been kept after this Supreme Court position came along. Now this will actually make you understand that when we are talking about Sindh as a word, as a territory, as a land, piece of land, yes, it might not be part of India, but as the cultural identity, as the historical hook that it has, it is very much part of the culture that we boast about. Now, I hope this has brought a little more clarity in this context. Now, moving on to understand the remark that has been main cause of the debate here. So, when we talk about the statement that has been given by our defense minister, which talks about a civilizational claim that we belong to that civilization and that civilization is ours, that is where we get to see many layers. First, as I said, it is about the civilization claim, that we are saying that this is very closely related to India's historic identity. It is part of it. That is why we are putting up our claim there. Furthermore, the symbolic assertion, it is reinforced in our anthem. It is part of our cultural memory, and the whole territorial suggestion that borders can change had already brought all this an upheaval. But when we talk about getting Sindh from Pakistan, on real terms, you have to understand that Sindh is an integrated province of Pakistan. Doing any such thing which might violate that will be against international laws and also will bring a lot of backlash. Even suspending the Indus Water Treaty was the cause of concern for the international community. Can you imagine when we make such a territorial claim, how it has been received? Pakistan has already gone ahead and called it delusional. Pakistan has called it eruditism. But at the same time, certain political parties, certain community groups in the Sindh region have supported Mr. Singh's remark here and have suggested that the reunion might be possible in future. Furthermore, the whole idea of this remark, if we have to understand, has just to be recognize the Sindhi community's history, because this was an event that was being conducted for the Sindhi community and it was clear projection of India's long civilizational timeline as well. So it is important that we understand the core messaging behind it as well. Now from here on, let us move to talk about international implications associated with it. First, cultural identity implications. So when we are talking about cultural identity implication, it automatically reaffirms the inclusion of Sindhi heritage within India's nationhood. Furthermore, that strengthens the narrative of India as an Indian ancient civilizational state. That means we come from a very long time, we have been here. Furthermore, there has been political dimensions as well. For example, it brings a momentum to the broader civilizational discourse that has been talked about in politics recent time, that how there is this notion of Akhand Bharat that exists, which is doing rounds in nation politics. So it brings a whole lot of momentum to that also, and it also brings in the whole idea, the trauma with partition, that how partition was unending and that business still remains unfinished. Furthermore, if we talk about the symbolic implication, as I have clearly highlighted, it just brings the public debate to the national anthem controversy that happened back in 2000s. So it's not just about what has been said, it is also about what it can lead up to here. Now moving on to international implications, the external or strategic implications that can come out of it. This will have a direct impact, and we have seen the impact where Pakistan has called this remark delusional, they have called this revisionist, and they have also warned us against it. But all of this highlights the risk of increased rhetorical confrontation, especially in the situation that India and Pakistan is. This can lead to any sort of escalation. Pakistan, which has been declared as the state of war, where it does not come down from pointing fingers at India for everything that goes wrong in there. In such a scenario, such a remark increases the confrontation, the possibilities of escalation as well. Furthermore, there is a simple strategic reading to it as well, which talks about that Pakistan has been seeing that is as soft irredentism, where a state is trying to, if we go by the term irredentism, it basically means a state is trying to claim a certain territory based on historical views or historical claims. So in this situation, Pakistan might try to put the narrative like this, and this could actually influence the perception of India's ambition. That is how the globe will see India, that India is a force which uses the means of irredentism as well. Furthermore, it might be seen by other global players as a point of contention which will increase the regional tensions. If the regional tensions will escalate, it will create places for other global players to step in, which are always ready given the situation of Pakistan, be it US, be it China, be it Saudi Arabia, be it Turkey. And it has already added fuel to the fire, where we have seen more sensitive issues such as Kashmir, Indus Water Treaty, the border dispute, be it the Sir Creek and other borders. It will fuel the fire on all of these ends as well. Now on this note, I will be ending with this very simple conclusion that yes, Sindh occupies a very unique position, not just in our history, but also when we talk about the civilization that we come from, and it is also associated with partition trauma, national identity and also diplomacy at this point of time. But at the same time, when we talk about Sindh as a region, we have to understand that it is very closely related to us, which can be understood by the mention of this name in our national anthem, and then SC's clear position that it shouldn't be put out just because that territory does not belong to us. It is about the sentiment that is associated with us. Now, the statement that has come out, it is majorly symbolic, but yet because it is coming from the Defence Minister of India, it carries a lot of strategic weight. Now on this note, let me know what do you think about this whole situation. You can put it down in the comment section. I'll be leaving you with a practice question here. You can put down your answers in the comment section, and the answer from the previous video, correct answer here is B. Now that was all for today. Thank you so much.